Swallowed Star 487 Heart Like a Mirror, Heart Like a Blade. Chapter 487 Heart Like a Mirror, Heart Like a Blade. Translator, Translation Nation Editor, Translation Nation. How can this be? How can this be? Luo Feng looked at the contents of the mail and shook his head. Iku, Big Brother Iku is dead? This was a mail that had been sent to all members of the Absolute Beginning region. As there were very few members, with a total of 1,100 of them, they were all considered absolute geniuses amongst the universe countries. Over 10,000 years, the Absolute Beginning area had only absorbed less than 20 people. Every one of them were considered valuable. Every time one fell, they would send a reminder to inform all the members. Iku, Luo Feng's body trembled and his eyes were filled with shock. Right. During yesterday's public lesson, without him noticing, Iku's consciousness had left the virtual universe network. Even his own call request didn't go through. Back then he still thought Iku had a sudden inspiration or was looking for treasure, etc. But from the looks of it now, Iku may have met with misfortune back then. This Big Brother Iku was a huge figure sent by the Virtual Universe Company to control a large territory. How did he just die? Even if he left the safety net of the Virtual Universe Company, meeting many events outside, he was still after all a core member of the company. How could he just get killed like that? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. Scenes appeared and flashed in his mind. You again? I noticed you during the last 2 classes. What a coincidence. An intrepid youth dressed in scaled armor walked over and laughed as he shouted. What a coincidence. Luo Feng laughed as well. I'm Luo Feng. I'm Iku. Let me tell you, when the Virtual Universe Company sends their domain lords out, they'll put them in their own home universe country. When I return this time, I'll control a large territory. The feeling will definitely be different. My clansmen's position too have since risen because of this. No one dares to ever bully my Copper Flame clan anymore. Iku was proud. My home Earth is the same. When I entered the Virtual Universe Company's core, the people of Earth's statuses rose greatly in the Black Dragon Mountain starfield. Luo Feng laughed too. If there's a strong warrior in the clan, the others will rise in status. However, if we fall, their status will fall greatly too. Iku's eyes stared. However, I will definitely work hard to become undying, definitely. We'll work hard together. Luo Feng's eyes too were filled with anticipation and fighting spirit. Luo Feng, you are currently still at the universe level. You can safely stay under the protection of the Virtual Universe Company to train and take missions, everything within a controlled area. When you reach Domain Lord level and get placed in a universe country, controlling a large territory, that's when your true grueling training will begin. That's when it will truly become dangerous. Especially at Sector Lord level, where you are not even allowed to bring your guard team, you'll go through life or death training then. Different scenes appeared in Luo Feng's mind. He hadn't known Iku for too long, but the two of them did have an affinity, maybe it's because of their many similarities. The path to undying is extremely tough, Luo Feng muttered, looking at the screen before him. On it the text read, to all Absolute Beginning members in Yuxiang Mountain. Our virtual universe just confirmed that Iku, an Absolute Beginning member, one that had been exceptional since the Genius battle, has fallen. This is a very heartbreaking news. The Absolute Beginning region absorbs members through the Genius battle and the Absolute Warriors battle. Every 10,000 years, we absorb less than 20 people. However, as time flows, every 100 to 1,000 years, someone will fall. One after another, the geniuses will continue to fall. Eventually, extremely few members will pass the road to become an undying. 95%. A terrifying number. This is the mortality rate of our absolute beginning region. 95% of the members from the absolute beginning region will fall. Yes. Right now, there were 1,137 members living in the region. About 95% of them will fall along the way to becoming undying, and only 5% will reach the end and become undying. I hope that all living members will be extra careful. Listening to classes? Training? Missions? Placed in their own universe countries? Sector Lord missions? Our virtual universe has given you all very huge liberties and power. The path is the one thing that you choose for yourself. The danger level 2 will be decided by you, and you'll bear the consequence for everything. I only hope that in the future, you all don't regret the decisions you made in the face of death. Virtual Universe Company. One mail, all the living 1137 absolute beginning members received it. The entire region seemed to have a heavy aura hanging over it. Absolute beginning region, Manka Prince Wuka's villa, living room. Luo Feng, Rongjun, Aichen, Ao Pate La, Wuka, Jiang Mo, Qian Shui, Lancelot. The absolute beginning members from the latest genius battle sat together unlike ever before. They usually formed their own little cliques like Luo Feng, Rongjun and Wuka. Ao Pate La, Lancelot were close, Aichen, Jiang Mo and Qian Shui were close. However, at this time, the 8 of them sat around the living room in silence. 95% of us will fall. Lancelot, a devilishly handsome youth, muttered. The moment I think about the many geniuses falling and imagining the currently bustling absolute beginning region becoming a cemetery, I feel shock and fear. I can't help but feel a chill. Silence. The air in the living room seemed stiff. There was heavy pressure, everyone could feel this pressure. 95%. This number had completely shocked the newcomers. Luo Feng felt a chill. These days I've been training, listening to classes, simulation in the training grounds, studying time-space scribbles, immersed in study. Teacher personally reminded me to go take on missions, to study and experience reality simultaneously, yet I never took it seriously. Luo Feng's eyes were cold. 30 years of a safe life has numbed me. A true warrior can only be born from grueling hardship. Just like how it takes 100 years to temper iron, experiencing many life or death instances, only then can a true warrior be made. Silence. The 8 sat there, thinking about many things. Who? Luo Feng stood up, the other 7 all looked over. Since we are walking this path, unless we choose to back out and return to our safe lives, we can only push forward. If we fall, we'll stand back up. We'll recover from heavy injuries and only death will end everything. Luo Feng's eyes were cold. The path to undying isn't something everyone can walk. Luo Feng immediately turned and walked out, flying into the sky and vanishing. The other 7 were stunned. Who? Rongjun stood up and said solemnly, Luo Feng is right. The path to undying isn't something anyone can just walk. Without the right heart, it's better to just give up. After which he turned and left too. Haha, good. Isn't it just a battle? Haha, the people of Manka are people that love battles. Wuka too stood up and laughed loudly. However, his laugh had a sense of pressure and coldness. Go. Jiang Mo stood up. Chen Shui followed her big brother and left. Iku's death had given the members of the Absolute Beginning region a huge wake-up call, and the ones that were truly awoken were Luo Feng and the other 7. They didn't even seem to sense any danger from before. Training mission. Rong Jun sat in his study. He opened the screen and looked carefully. Safe level, normal, difficult, dangerous, impossible? This is the first time I'm taking a mission. Without any danger there won't be any effect. I can still choose the level now, in the future I won't even get a choice. However, the first time shouldn't be too dangerous, after all I have no experience. Difficult level. Rong Jun opened the difficult level and chose the mission. Fantasy Ocean. Rumble, a black ocean roared. The waves rose as high as 10 m, crashing over and over into the cliffside. Luo Feng stood above the cliff, looking at the endless fantasy ocean. For a strong warrior, other than talent, comprehension, hard work, resources and techniques, the most important thing is his heart. Luo Feng looked far ahead. With a heart like a blade and strong willpower, for the route ahead, any obstruction will be nothing but a joke. Progressing forward, with a heart of respect and nothing to fear. Heart cold as a mirror, able to see clearly through everything. Heart like a blade, able to cut through obstructions. Luo Feng's eyes were cold. With a rumble he became a beam of light and headed towards the first island of the fantasy ocean. His heart was cold like a mirror. This was the state that Luo Feng had reached long ago in spirit. In any circumstance or situation, he could maintain absolute calm and coldness. And 30 years of quiet study. The death of a good friend, it made him roar. It made him reflect on himself, seeing clearly what he was. His willpower and heart were both like a blade. Heart like a mirror, this was where the heart had reached an absolute level of strength. Heart like a blade was another aspect altogether. Hong and Thunder God both focused heavily on the spirit training. These two had long reached a perfect level of the heart. Their mental state had long reached the pinnacle of Chinese culture level. Chasing after their ancestors, they had many methods of training and finally reached perfection. Maybe in other aspects they were weaker, however in mental state alone, these two could be considered at the pinnacle in the universe. And Luo Feng too could achieve this state. He was probably only weaker than the other two by a little. Primal Chaos City. A group was listening to True Yen Emperor's class. Luo Feng was one of them. With just this level of illusion and you want to affect me? My heart is like a mirror, I see through all the haze. My heart is like a blade, I cut through all the illusions. Break. 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 Luo Feng's consciousness was like lightning, roaring and shaking the skies. The land and skies crumbled and the illusion broke, revealing the original island scenery. It was a white sandy island and on it were trees and plants, which looked silent and beautiful. And Luo Feng stood on the beach of the island. In the distant ocean there was darkness. In the distance, a white shade floated and appeared. Another deeper island had appeared. Only after passing the first level would the next island appear. I really wish to see what kind of illusion can stop me. Luo Feng rushed into the sky, becoming a beam of light and heading towards the 6th island. Right, Luo Feng had just passed 5 islands of the fantasy ocean continuously. 5 islands, they hardly even affected Luo Feng.